What is going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, and this video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about how to actually stick with a goal and how to actually follow through with it. Now, this isn't for everybody, right? Like, if your goal is small, if your goal is just to do this and do that, and this video isn't going to be for you. This is for people who have really, like, these are for people who have goals that they're super passionate about, like goals that they have to hit, and if you don't hit it, it's going to be the worst thing that you can ever do in your life. Like, I know these types of goals because I've had these types of goals. I've missed these types of goals. And I don't want you to miss them either. So I'm going to come in here and talk about how I create goals personally and how I stick with them and how I actually get to these goals and make it happen. So there's just a few different little things in these slides that could put a complete different perspective change in your mind. And I think it'll really help you, like if you're making a goal for the new year, or if you've had a goal for a while and you're still working on it. I think if you can fix these two things that I'm going to cover in this video, I think you're more than likely willing to hit that goal, or not willing to, but you're gonna. So the first thing that I always question myself with is what am I motivated by? What are you motivated by? Now, there's two biggest motivations in terms of reaching a goal. Like, why is that your goal? Why is this that? And I'm not talking about, taking care of your family or having a passion. That's not what I'm about. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about, are you running from something that you want to avoid, or are you chasing something that you want? Now, these are two different questions that you have to understand your answer, because if you don't understand your answer, you're not going to be able to point out your flaws. So basically, when I first got started, and I first, I didn't really have any money. I didn't have anything. I was like 15, or I was younger when I first got started, but when I started actually starting businesses and all that, I was 14 or 15, and I wasn't really chasing anything. I was just kind of, I was really running. Like, I didn't want to have to go to college. I didn't want to have to get a job. I didn't want to be normal. I didn't want to get stuck in the rat race. I didn't want somebody telling me what to do. Basically, this is what I call running. So I had to understand that I was running from something. I wasn't really chasing anything. There was no, oh, I want to make 100K a year. I want to do this and that and this and that. It was more just, I need to do whatever's in my power to get away from being broke, being stuck in a rat race, that sort of thing. And that's the kind of situation that I was in. But in my opinion, and this is just based off of my experiences, it's different for everybody. This is why I need to say that you need to figure out kind of what you want to do, or which of these you're motivated by. Are you motivated by running or chasing? And because for me, running was the most powerful. Like, whenever I think about those, being in debt and not being able to pay it back, you're a slave to a lender, or only having enough money to live comfortably, or stuff like that. I hate that idea. Like, I will do anything to get away from that. And so that's why I think running is the most powerful for me. So I'm self-aware that I will work way harder when I'm running away from somebody than when I'm trying to, or not somebody, but something, than trying to chase something. Now, chasing something, some people are different. Some people like to chase things, and they'll actually work way harder when they're chasing. Now, there's always a quote that I like to say is, you will always run faster when somebody's chasing you and you're running away from that person than if you're chasing somebody. Like, picture if you're chasing somebody with a knife, right? Like, I'm not saying this will ever happen, but I'm just saying hypothetically, you're chasing somebody with a knife. That person's fear of getting stabbed or killed or whatever is going to be a lot more passionate than your desire or your chasing of stabbing or killing them. Sometimes it's the other way around, but you know what I'm saying. Like, for me, running is way more powerful than chasing. And the thing about chasing is it needs to be back to a passion. Like, you can't just be chasing 100K a year. You have to ask yourself, why do you want to make 100K a year? Is there a step 2 to this goal? Is there something bigger that you want to do that requires an income of 100K a year? You need to question yourself, why exactly are you chasing what you're chasing? And if you can do that, then chasing can also be just as powerful as running. But for me, because I'm self-aware, and you need to become self-aware for you, I know that me running away from something, I will work way harder than if I'm chasing something. So once you figure that out, you basically have to put a number on your goal and make it tangible. And I'm not saying you have to write it down or any cheesy shit like that. If you want to, you can, but it's not something that I personally do. Like, I don't write down my goals every night or whatever. That's just all, like, in my opinion, it never really helped me. I know what my goal is. I think about it all day. I don't need to write it down to remind myself what it is. Basically, put a number on it, make it tangible. If you're trying to make 100K a year, you're trying to make, I think it's like 8,333 a month or something. I'm not going to do the math, but you have to break it down, right? You want to break it down into how much money 100K a year is. I'll whip out a calculator right now. Actually, let me do it on the screen here. So here, we have a calculator. Let's say you want to make 100,000 in a year. We'll divide that by 12 months, okay? So, yeah, $8,333 per month. This is making it tangible. Instead of thinking about $100,000, now you're thinking about 8,333, which is like, it just makes the number so much smaller, and if you can just meet that every month, it's not as much money as you might think, and you might actually make your goal bigger. But let's just divide that again by 30. So $100,000 a year is equivalent to $277.78 per day. And if you can make $277 per day, then that's exactly what you need to do. So this is what I mean by making it tangible. Like, you have to figure out, you have to know your numbers. You got to know if you want to make 100K a year, you have to make $277.78 every day. So now that we understand that, this is not including weekends. This is if you're working 7 days a week and 365 days a year, not including holidays, your birthday, whatever. You're gonna have to make $277 every single day of the year. Okay, so that's basically what I mean by making it, making it tangible. Like, put a number on it that you can actually get a grip on and understand. And every day when you wake up, you should be thinking about, I need to be making $277 every month. Now, you also have to consider, in the beginning of the year, you might not come out the gate making $277. So you might go, a month or two only making $50 a day, $100 a day, whatever it is, and then that $277 a day number actually goes up because it's not out of 365 days anymore. It's out of 300 days. So make sure you do your math. Make sure you know that your numbers. Make sure you know your numbers and all that stuff. The next step is to set a realistic time frame on your goal. Now, people are so strict with this. Like, everybody used to tell me, you need to put a number on your goal. You need to write it down every night. You need to set a realistic time frame, or not even a realistic time frame, but you gotta set a time frame for it, and you have to hit it, and you have to do everything that you can to hit it. Like, and I just never listened to any of that thing. What I would do is I would basically just set a realistic time frame in my mind. Like, how long do you think it'll take you to hit $300 a day? Let's say you're making nothing right now, and you have to build your foundation and build your way up to $300 a day. When I started doing this, it took me about 4 months. So let's say within 4 months, you want to be making $277 a day. Okay, so all that you have to do is work backwards from that goal. Say, what do I have to sell? What do I have to, what offer do I have to put out into the marketplace? What products can I put out there? What services can I offer? And basically, once you know once you know how long it should take you, once you know how much exactly you need to be making, then you can figure out how you're gonna make that. So if you're trying to make $300 a day, it might be worth selling something a little bit higher ticket, because it's $270 a day. Let's say you sell something for $1,000 and you get like a $300 commission, then you have to make one $1,000 sale every single day, and you'll be making $300 a day. So making it simple, you got to figure out what can you sell to hit the goal, and then once you know that, you have to shoot to hit it sooner than what's realistic, or sooner than your time frame. So let's say your time frame was in 4 months, or your estimated time frame was 4 months. You have to shoot to hit it like this month, right? Like, you have to go for it this month. You don't want to be thinking about 4 months. That's just like, that's your bottom line. That's your worst case scenario. You want to be shooting to hit as quick as possible, because as I said in other videos, the quicker that you can start building momentum, the quicker you'll hit your goal. Okay, so you have a number on your goal. It's tangible to you. You know what you have to do. You know what time frame it's going to be in. And then you know what you have to do to reach that goal. What you have to sell, what offers you have to do, what products, whatever. What business are you going to do? And you've already worked backwards, and you figure out how much work it's going to take, how much time, and all that sort of stuff. Now what you have to do is you have to block out anything that does not bring you closer to that goal. Okay, and I'm going to elaborate on this. And this is basically something that nobody really ever taught me. I just kind of figured it out over time, just doing different businesses, focusing on one business, and that's understanding focus versus time. Now, when it comes to my students and stuff, Facebook ads, they don't really take that long, okay? Like I have one kid who's managing around 7 stores, and we're doing it together, and it takes us about an hour a day. And VAs handle all the order placing, they handle all the customer service. So managing 7 stores really only takes an hour a day, and or maybe 2 hours a day on a busy day, right? But he's always asking me, like, what can I do with the rest of my time during the day? And this is where focus versus time comes in. So let's look at the definitions, and I grabbed these right off of the Google Dictionary. So the definition of focus is the center of interest or activity. Okay, so this is basically whatever you're talking about in a certain conversation, or basically the focus of this video is how to set a goal and stick with it and actually hit your goal, right? So that's the focus. We're not talking about time, which time is just a unit of measure, right? Like we all have 24 hours in a day. There's 60 minutes in an hour. That's the unit of time. Now, time and focus are two very different things. And so when it comes to, I'm working on my business in only an hour or two a day, but what do I do with the other 15 hours that I'm awake? Like, do I just sit there and do nothing? What can I do? Because I want to start other businesses, right? Like, I want to keep momentum going. Like, I want to do something with this time. It feels like I'm wasting time. But if your business is only taking you 2 hours a day, and that's the only thing that you're doing, you can do things to make that business take longer than 2 hours a day. Okay, like you can like tighten up things, fix cracks in the ceiling, whatever. Like those are just frames of expression, but I'm not saying you should literally fix cracks in ceilings, but you get what I'm saying. But once you start dividing focus, like time has nothing to do with focus. Once you start dividing focus across numerous things, you're no longer putting all of your effort into that one thing. Now, even if you are, or all of your effort in your center of interest, now, even if it's only taking 2 hours a day, that's the measurement of time, it's going to be taking a lot more focus. You could be focused on that one business all day and just always be thinking about it, always be talking about it, eat, breathe, sleep, everything your business, even though it only takes you 2 hours a day. It's taking up a lot more focus than time, and if you start taking that focus away, it could affect how you hit your goal or how quickly you hit your goal. And this is what I'm talking about. What you want to do is you want to put all of your focus into one thing, and that thing is your goal. And again, I'm talking about focus, not time. We've already defined the both definitions. So remember this, when you're going throughout your day, where are you putting your focus? What's your center of interest at most moments during your day? Right now, your center of interest is focused on this video. The focus of this video is talking about how to hit a goal and how to stick with it. It doesn't matter how long the video is. It doesn't matter how much time you spend watching this video, because you're putting your focus onto this video at this moment. Even if you paused it, walked away, and went to the bathroom, you're not putting any more time into the video, but your focus is still on the video, okay? Because you just came out of watching it. All right, so divided focus is one of the main reasons I never hit my goals when I was starting out. I was working on my goal, but I would go home, I would work maybe 6 or 8 hours a day, pushing me towards my goal. But I was also hanging out with friends, in school, and I was also talking to people, family, at the dinner table and stuff. And I was also working on a couple different other goals that I had. You might have the time to do all of these things, but you might not have the focus to do all these things. And once I understood this is when I was able to actually put a lot of focus into one thing and actually master that one thing. And if you don't know, this is how I got so good at Facebook ads, because I literally absolutely did nothing else except for Facebook ads. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. These are the two things that made me successful, okay? Determining what motivates you, or determining what motivated me, and then assigning focus. Okay, so let's say you're running from something, and then you figure out that you're running from something. So now that you know what's motivating you, and then assign your focus to the thing that's going to make you successful. Okay, like I said, when I first got started out, I was running from needing to get a job. I was running from living a normal life. I didn't want to get stuck in the stat race and in the rat race. I didn't want people telling me what to do, when I can eat lunch, or I didn't want to have to ask to use the bathroom. None of that stuff. And I started focusing on only my business. When I talked to people, I was talking about my business. When I was on the bathroom, I was figuring something out on my business, right? Like when something went wrong, I would focus on my business. When I was doing the dishes, I would focus on my business. When I was mowing the lawn, I would focus on my business. Everything that I did, I wasn't focused on doing because I was only focused on my business. Didn't matter how much time it took me to grow the business. All day, I was focused on this thing. Okay, I didn't let anything take focus away from getting to where I need to be in life. And this is part of the reason why I am where I am, and why I have so much results, because I eat, live, breathe, sleep, all that stuff. Like literally my life was Facebook ads for literally a year. And now I'm able to expand outwards on that, but I already assigned that focus to master it. And I have a team now, and I don't, it doesn't take up all that much time, and even still to this day, when I start doing different things, I can see my focus drifting away from Facebook ads. Like, for example, I just got into trading watches a little bit, like luxury watches. And, for 2 or 3 hours a day, I wasn't focused on Facebook ads. I was focused on finding a great deal on a nice watch that I could trade and make a little bit of profit. And, I just realized that if I just spent that 2 or 3 hours a day doing Facebook ads, which is my main thing, that's what I should be focusing on, right? I would make way more money than if I were to make, $1,000 from flipping a watch. So this is what I mean. Like this focus thing, like nobody really talks about it, but it's when I figured it out, I was able to really blow this thing up. Before we end this video, I just want to talk about the focused mentality is very intense. And it is very intense because most people aren't focused like this, right? They if you go to a 9 to 5, they go to their 9 to 5 and they're only focused on their job between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and that when they get home, they let loose, they watch TV, they do whatever. They stop focusing on their job. But in this world, when you're self-employed, you can't just do that. You can't go to your business at 9 a.m., come home at 5 p.m. and then forget about your business. If you do that, your chances of being successful are very slim. Honestly, you don't even deserve it if you do that, because I was going 20 hours a day, 19 hours a day. On really days when I would really hustle, I would sleep maybe 3 or 4 hours, and the rest of the time I was just strictly working. But this is what I'm saying. Most people can't handle that. They'll get offended. They'll say you don't care about them anymore. They say you don't listen to them. They'll say that you changed. You'll lose relationships. You lose freedom because you become a slave to your goal. You become a slave to your focus. And this is the biggest objection that people tell me. And it's okay if you don't want to go this route, but I chose to just completely indulge myself in Facebook ads. And you haven't seen what I've sacrificed. You haven't seen the relationships that I lost. You haven't seen none of that stuff. You just see the results. But I'm telling you that I was a slave to my goal, and I hit my fucking goal, and now I'm free. Like, I can do whatever I want. I can travel here. I can travel there. And I'm still working on my goal. Okay? But always remember, if you aren't a slave to yourself, you're going to be a slave to somebody else.